Let me ask you something. Have you ever replayed your kids' game more times than they did? Have you ever thought, if I don't say something now, they won't get any better, or I need to say something to that other parent, that coach? By the end of this episode, you're going to walk away with a simple way to protect your athlete's confidence, an actual script that you can use after games, especially after the hard ones, a mindset shift that can completely change how your athlete handles pressure.
Hello, and thank you for joining the Champion Within podcast, your premier go-to spot for unlocking your winning mindset. Whether you're an athlete looking to elevate your game to the next level, a coach leading the charge, an enthusiastic parent cheering from the sidelines, or an educator molding young minds, the Champion Within podcast episodes are packed with value, sharing the tools and strategies to unlock your potential and rise to new heights. Hosted by mentor, coach, and mindset leader Kate McCauley. Let's sit back and enjoy today's episode while discovering your champion within. And now, here's Kate.
Youth sports at the younger years used to be about learning how to play the game and having fun. Now, parents feel like they need to have a resume for their kid by about age 8, maybe 9. They're talking about rankings, scholarships, highlight reels. By middle school, some athletes, they're already telling me when I'm in workshops with them how mistakes mean something about who they are. They might not be saying it in so many words, but basically they're telling me that their performance equals their worth. They're letting other people down, and that feels worse than losing. And some of the parents, I know that they're coming from a place of love. They're doing their very best. And honestly, they're just not being taught how to give these tools to their children. But that doesn't cancel out the impact that all of this is having on our young athletes. And really, youth sports starts when they're little. And I love that. I love seeing my nephew running around on a basketball court. I love seeing some of them run in the wrong direction. And by the end of that basketball season, start to learn how to dribble, which direction to go, to actually pass the ball, not hold it and run down the court, right? Like a little football player, but they're dribbling a little bit more. I love seeing the growth that happens there. We see this as they go through elementary school, middle school, even high school. You're seeing this happen. I want to make something personal for a second here. My oldest son, he played football, basketball, lacrosse, played a little baseball in there. He was a hard worker, competitive, coachable. He's still all of those things. He was incredibly hard on himself. If he dropped a pass, missed a shot, there was a turnover, you could see it immediately in his body language. Head down, there was an energy shift, and he was taking it all on himself. He'd replay mistakes over and over. I could see it happening. Admittedly, this was something that I probably passed down from myself to him. I wish it was something that I didn't give him, but if I'm being honest and I look back, I did a lot of those things too. As a parent, I wanted to fix it. And when I was coaching him through the youth years, I really tried my best not to be the parent, but just be the coach, which made it even more difficult, right? And there were times when I wanted to coach him through it. I wanted to say the right thing. What I didn't realize at first was that my timing mattered more than my words. Because let's be honest, I grew up in a time when if things weren't going well, as my high school daughter likes to tell me, they probably just said to you, yeah, we don't care. Suck it up. Move on. And listen, I'm Gen X. I think there's a lot to be learned from some of those things. I feel like we need a balance of maybe where we are now and where we were then in some ways. If I had had these tools then, I honestly think I would be a different person in so many areas of my life. And I would probably have a lot less stress. There's another layer of pressure that weighs heavily on athletes. It's the other parents, the other athletes, the sideline comments, the comparisons that are happening, playing time opinions, the looks, the whispers. And when it's your kid, that protective instinct, oh, it hits hard and it hits fast. It's really hard not to want to swoop in. And sometimes, if we're going to be honest, release those full mama bear claws. I've been guilty here. I have felt my chest tighten, my jaw clench. I've had to chew my gum a little bit faster so that I didn't say something right then, right there. And I had to hold that urge back. Here's a mindset shift that changed everything, and I want you to take this with you. I can't control other people, but I can teach my athlete how to respond to them. Let's talk about the stuff that feels relieving in the moment. Sometimes you'll want to post on social media at an event, talk trash in the car. Maybe you're even labeling other kids, parents, or the coaches as the problem. I get it. It feels protective. It feels loyal. Here's what it's actually teaching your athlete. You're blaming other people instead of taking ownership. And I'm not saying the problem is definitely always with your athlete, but what is their part? Can you ask that question and answer it? Here's what I want you to try instead. I want you to say to your athlete, I agree. I know that was hard. We can't control other people, unfortunately, but we can control how you show up, how you respond, or maybe something like this. Not everyone is going to be fair. Not everyone's going to be kind or supportive. Unfortunately, that's just part of life, and it's a part of sports. Maybe you want to try something a little bit more simple and say, how you respond is your power. Just simple and direct there. And then just pause. There's so much power in a pause. Pause and ask yourself this question. Is this about my child's safety or my own personal discomfort here? Am I modeling regulation or am I reacting? A lot of times we are reacting and we have to pause and think about that. Take it offline, take it away from the sidelines in a private conversation, process it with another adult who's not going to get you fired up, somebody who is balanced, maybe even an outside opinion, not your athlete. This is going to teach emotional strength to your athlete, which goes way beyond the sport. What do championship teams, standout students, and elite companies all have in common? A trained mindset. The Champion Within programs aren't fluff. They're mental performance blueprints that build focus, resilience, confidence, and clarity when it counts. Now is the time to set this up. Not next season, not next quarter, now, when the pressure is real and the habits are forming. Whether you're on the field, the courts, in the classroom, or leading a boardroom, your people need transformation and mindset training. Let's partner. Let's co-create this. Let's build the mindset that fuels the next level. Schedule a quick call. Just go to the show notes after the podcast and use the link. Let's design the exact experience your people need because they already have the talent. Now we build the belief. Let's get to the car ride home. This is where confidence is either built or broken. It is one of the most important spaces in youth sports, but we don't talk about it much. That car ride home, that space between the field and the front door, is where confidence either grows or can erode. This is where the loss of the love of the game can happen, depending on how this conversation goes. After your athlete competes, after a game, even after practice, an athlete's nervous system is still lit up. It is high. Their cortisol is high. They're feeling that stress. Adrenaline hasn't even come down yet. That is not the time for us to analyze every little detail. There's 3 phases of the car ride home, and I want you to maybe take some notes here or a very minimum. Come back and listen to this one again. The first phase is what I call the golden rule, first 15 minutes. The goal here in the first 15 minutes, and this could even be on the walk to the car too, before you even get into the car. At this point, you are just letting them have a decompression time. They are emotionally coming down from the game. Say nothing about the game. No feedback, no breakdown, no almost, or if you had done this, none of that. You want to say something? If you have to say something, you can't be quiet. Here's what you can say. I'm hungry. You want to grab a snack? You know why this works? Most confidence killers don't come from what parents say. They come from when they say it. Silence here is actually a support. You're making them feel safe to be able to regulate and calm down. Phase number 2, you're asking if it's okay now. So you're giving your athlete control here. We're about maybe 15, 20 minutes in now. Maybe they bring it up first. That's what I would recommend. If they actually start talking about the game, that's your moment where you know it's time. But if you feel like, okay, maybe I should say something here, I'm worried about them, or, it's a must talk situation, it's as simple as this. I have some thoughts on the game, but I want to make sure you're ready. Do you want to talk about it now or maybe tomorrow? Pause. Use the power of the pause again. If they say tomorrow, you have to respect it. This allows them to have control. Remember, it is their sports journey. You're giving them this sense of safety with you. They trust you. They know it's safe for them to say, I really am just not ready. Because there is a chance that they're still coming down from that, right? If they start venting, this happens a lot with my daughter in all kinds of things, not just sports. But if they're venting, your athlete gets in the car and they start venting about something. Maybe it's after practice, after that game. A phrase you could use is, do you want my advice or do you just want to vent? And just like the last question here in phase 2, if you're asking for tomorrow, if they say they want your advice, you can give it to them. But if they say, I just want to vent, I know it's hard, but you have to let them vent. You have to let them. Because you can't offer something like this. Do you want to talk tomorrow? Do you want to vent, advice? And then say, well, I don't really care what you want. This is what you're going to get. Because they're not going to trust you. They're not going to want to talk with you about things if you do that. And ultimately, I know you love them. That's why you're listening to this episode right now, because you love them. Phase 3. This is the champion within questions. And this is if they're ready. These are the 3 prompts that you want to be asking your athletes. Number 1 is what I call the highlight reel. And you are not giving the highlight reel. This is the question. What's one moment you felt proud about today? Pause. You are going to be doing a lot of pausing when you talk. That question, what's one moment you felt proud of today, is a complete shift for them. Let them focus on that. And then you could talk about it. The second question, this is a work in progress question. If we went back to the start, is there one thing you would try differently? You're going to know how they respond. Maybe you get an eye roll here, different things. If there's some aggression here, they're not ready to be in phase 3. And that's okay. You might need to back off and see if it's back to, do you want to talk about this tomorrow? Do you just want to vent? If they are ready, depending, and it doesn't mean they're going to be happy about it, but if we went back to the start, is there one thing you'd try differently? Pause again and see what they say. And sometimes they are being too tough on themselves, and you may just follow up with, why? Is that true? Everybody, you, me, the guy down the street, sometimes we future spiral. We spiral and overthink about things we did. Could we done it differently? Add-on question, is that true? Could help out in that number 2 question. The last thing that you're going to say, I loved watching how hard you competed the second half. You're always praising effort, focus, and response, not just the outcome. I always say to my kids, my athletes that I'm coaching, I love you. I'm proud of you. I loved watching you compete. I love watching you run. I loved watching you play today. I'm so glad that I got to do that. Because honestly, aren't we? Aren't you grateful that you get to do that? Don't you love doing this and getting to see them compete? We really are the luckiest people, being front row, sideline seats to our favorite athletes. So that most important line, the end of the ride, is I love watching you play. Research is going to show, if you look it up, that athletes who hear this, they're going to recover faster from mistakes. They take healthier risks in life, not just sports, and they will stay in sports longer. That's the goal, because you're gaining so many skills beyond the actual athletic skills that they're learning. When I changed how I handled the car ride home with my son, everything shifted. He still cared. He still wanted to improve, but mistakes stopped defining him. That's the goal, not raising athletes who never fail, but raising athletes who know failure isn't fatal. If you're listening and thinking, I've said the wrong thing before, welcome in, join the club. This isn't about guilt, it's about awareness. Pressure doesn't build this confidence for athletes, safety does. And sometimes the strongest mindset move that you could make is saying less. The power in that pause, which I feel like I said so many times today. And loving more, right? Saying less and loving more. If this episode hit home for you, I would love for you to share it with another sports parent, post it on social media, tag at The Champion Within. I'll put that in my show notes so you know, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, Facebook, all the places, because confidence is really built on those car rides home, one moment at a time. And I would love more people to hear about that. Thank you for hanging out with me today on The Champion Within. Make sure you come back on Speedy Sunday for a quick exercise that you can use with your athletes too.
Thank you for hanging out with Kate today. And whether you're going to coach, teach, cheer from the sidelines, or hitting the field yourself, remember, mindset is everything. Don't forget to follow the show for the latest episodes, as we all need a little extra motivation, humor, and sanity in our busy lives. Now, go and unleash your champion within you, one step at a time. We're always rooting for you.